Okay, today we're going to talk about sumo deadlifts, the wide stance, and the effect that it's having on the groins of the athletes that train here at Raw Strength. What we're finding is that everyone's complaining of a kind of deep tightness in the front of the hips here, and just hip flexor stretches, ball rolling, soft tissue work on the soles isn't really getting to that issue. And then one client of mine said, well, if I drop down to a deep goblet squat and then push one of my knees out there, or even both knees out, I get this real deep stretch. It feels kind of groiny, kind of hamstringy, but it releases that tension really nice on the front. So that got me thinking, and we found that it was adductor magnus that was getting really tight because it was put in an abducted position and it was pulling in, so it was getting real nice and strong, good for sports, but we weren't doing anything to kind of counteract that effect. So if you do a lot of sumo deadlifts in your training, or anything where you're kind of moving side to side and you feel the tightness here, this is a great one to stretch out. So to stretch adductor magnus, get a band real tight up in here and then drop into a nice deep goblet squat. Okay, down in here. The band's going to pull your hips in and forwards, and we're going to work the leg out there. This gives us a lovely torquing effect around the hip joint and really opens up those origins of the muscle right up in there. So just by a side effect of stretching the groin, that releases the tension on the top and the front of the hip here, and then all the clients were like, yeah, that's the one, that's what that pain was. It was actually a deeper insertion point that we couldn't quite get to with soft tissue work. So just something to think about if you do sumo deadlifts in your training, or anything kind of side to side, you know, like tennis, squash, rugby side steps, anything that might develop the groins, the adductors. Just make sure you're doing something to soften it up and loosen it. Okay, cool? See you later.